Breaking news, there are other places of India which are on fire. Now there is stone pelting which is being reported from Prayagraj. As you can see in the visuals, the police force has already turned up. There's backup as well, which is why the police had to resort to mild Lathi charge to disperse the crowd. What we do know is that there has been Friday fury witnessed across the length and breadth of the country, and these are multi-city visuals that we've been getting for you, the latest visuals which are coming in from Prayagraj, where unfortunately more instances are coming in of violence. And what we do know is that there was stone pelting on the forces, which was controlled after the police resorted to a mild Lathi charge. In fact, this is just one of the many cities in Uttar Pradesh where we have seen some kind of unrest. There are places in Delhi as well which have been facing a lot of protests have happened against Nupur Sharma. She's on the hate list, and now after the calls which have been made, not just to hang her, to behead her, there are those which are trying to burn her effigies as well, which is why the question is, who has been fanning this kind of flames that we have seen singeing our streets, singeing the nation in this manner? Lakhs are out there on the streets. They are protesting against the blasphemy, as you can see. These are the visuals, the latest visuals which are coming in from Prayagraj. As you can see, the police there have already gathered there in large numbers. There is backup as well. They have cordoned off the streets. They've blocked off the pelters. However, stone pelting has happened. As you can see, those streets littered with stones there. As you can see, these are the visuals which show the way that entire nation seems to be burning after insidious calls have been made for beheading, calls which have been made for death, murder, and now effigies are also being burned. This is which is coming in from Prayagraj. You can see the paramilitary forces are in action. They have pushed back the mob which was pelting stones at the security forces. In fact, they have barricaded the entire area. The riot forces are there to ensure that no untoward incident happens. The police there are also making videos. Now remember, these videos are very critical later on to identify who the rioters were, who instigated it, and what really happened, the facts on the ground. Let me go across to Amir. Amir, we all know that there is high security there in Kanpur 1 week after the riots which had happened. Now what we can see is that other cities are also not being spared. These are the visuals we can see in Prayagraj. Very uneasy calm after stone pelting. Amir, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Amir, can you tell us about what's happening in Prayagraj? We can see the visuals there, a mob attacking the police officers, but it seems like after mild Lathi charge, the situation is under control, even if it is an uneasy calm.
Well, yes, absolutely. These are the pitfalls and dangers involved even in peaceful protests. Because remember, most of the community leaders had clearly said that they have not made any formal call for protests outside the mosque once Jummah Namaz concludes. But at many of such cities, we've seen that people from minority community have come outside and raised slogans, shown their protests and aggression against especially Nupur Sharma and many other individuals who had either posted incriminating material or posts on social media, or made such statements which had hurt their sentiments. In most such places like Saharanpur and Muradabad and Lucknow, these protests had actually passed off peacefully because there was police presence and deployment, and administrative officials in such situations, sometimes allows people to, raise some slogans and then disperse quietly so as to diffuse the situation. But here in this case, in Prayagraj, it seems that things went out of hands, which is why the police had to resort to Lathi charge. They had to use mild force to disperse the people who had gathered after the namaz to raise slogan or to protest, because there's a certain point, a threshold, after which obviously the administration and the police will not allow people to go further and take law into their own hands. But here it clearly seems that these people, these protesters had crossed this threshold, which is why the police is using force against them, causing, this kind of an unfortunate situation there. Meghna?
resorted to force given that they had no option really. But as for security situation in Prayagraj is concerned, was it amplified like it was in Kanpur?
This clearly is for the police officers there, for top officials of the district to explain as to why there wasn't enough, information by way of intelligence that people are going to congregate there, they are going to make some protest, and therefore adequate deployment of forces should have actually taken place. But clearly the onus is also on the community members, on the leaders, on political leaders as well, who guide such people, who congregate such people, and then perhaps also egg them on to go ahead and protest in a violent manner. So these are people who actually come out in these times and ask the people to contain themselves, to control themselves, and rein in all such mischievous elements from within the community. But it seems that this is a serious matter. At least now the district administration and the police officials there will take control of the situation, will not allow it to go out of hands further, and will take some very, very strict action, because as I said earlier, these are very sensitive times, and around the time when there are spontaneous and simultaneous protests taking place in other districts as well. Remember, Uttar Pradesh is a huge state with 75 districts and population of 25 crore people. These officials need to be very vigilant. The government needs to lead from the front in terms of taking exemplary action against elements who try and provoke people or take the law into their own hands.
Come back to you. I believe we can hear some of the... Well, we just heard those scenes which are coming in from Saharanpur. As you can see, the police, they're warning the people that there is stone pelting. Don't go there. They are also going back. As you can see, that police officials also making videos, because it's very critical to capture the stone pelters later on if there is action to be taken. But what has been witnessed across the entire country is the way that there are flames of hate which are being lit. And Amir, I absolutely agree with you that there seems to be a larger plot of mobilization. Can you tell us a bit about it? How were so many people congregating at the same areas? Was it only for the Friday prayers, or was there active mobilization, which seems to be the case on social media as well? And if there was, who did it?
Well, Meghna, while formally there had been no call for protests in such manner, and obviously the respective district administrations had been in touch with the community leaders. They had called various peace committee meetings over the last 2-3 days, looking at the sensitivity of the situation and the fact that this happens to be the first Friday after the last Friday's violence in Kanpur. And therefore, all such administrative officials were vigilant. They had known that situation could actually emerge as very, very sensitive and can actually also turn explosive if there is no adequate deployment of police, and also intelligence inputs need to be on time. So the onus clearly on one side on the officials, on the government to contain law and order on the ground, while also on the community leaders. Because these are people who have close contacts with a large cross-section of society from within their community, and therefore, at the right time, this message needs to be conveyed to them that this kind of indulging into violence or aggressive protests are not going to yield anything. The government is taking action as per law against all such individuals against whom allegations are being made in public and on social media. But yes, you rightly pointed out that social media needs to be curbed adequately to see to it that there are no mischievous posts made about congregations, about call for protests or bunds, and especially around these times when people from minority community definitely converge in large numbers at mosque within their area, and this is the nature of Juma prayers, that people offer namaz all at once in a particular mosque from that area. And therefore, at larger mosques, the congregation is huge. So therefore, there should definitely be, while on one side, the police should keep an eye on the social media, on WhatsApp groups as well, whether there are people who are actually provoking people to come out and protest, especially on a certain occasion.
Over the last 1 week, we've only seen the situation escalate. So questions certainly coming to light on how this is being allowed to happen. Rather, how is it spreading by the day? We need to quickly play out the reaction of Prashant Kumar, Law and Order DGP, on the latest law and order situation there. Listen in.
तो जुमे की नमाज पर से कानपुर में हिंसा हुई थी, उसके बाद आज को लेकर के सर क्या अलर्ट है उत्तर प्रदेश में?
आज पूर्णतया शांति है, सभी जगह लगातार लोग भ्रमणशील हैं और बहुत सारी जगहों पे जुमे की नमाज सकुशल संपन्न हो चुकी है। कुछ जगहों पर वो समय के हिसाब से चीज़ें चल रही हैं और व्यापक पुलिस प्रबंध कराए गए हैं। लगभग 130 कंपनी पीएससी के डिप्लॉयड हैं और हमारे सारे अधिकारी और मजिस्ट्रेट्स लगातार भ्रमणशील हैं और सोशल मीडिया की मॉनिटरिंग भी चल रही है। साथ साथ ये भी देखा जा रहा है कि कोई जानबूझ के माहौल को खराब न करे। धर्म गुरुओं के द्वारा भी इस पूरे प्रकरण में बहुत ही सहयोग मिला है। उन लोगों ने जगह जगह पे शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से नमाज संपन्न कराने हेतु सबसे अपील की है। इसका बहुत अच्छा असर है और हम लोग पूरे सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में फ्राइडे की का जो ये नमाज है वो संपन्न कराएंगे।
अभी सर देखा मैं सहारनपुर में नमाज के बाद कुछ लोगों ने अल्लाह अकबर के नारे और नुपुर शर्मा को लेकर अपना विरोध दर्ज कराया था।
वहाँ ये सूचना मिली थी कि भीड़ काफ़ी हो गई थी, उसकी वजह से लोग धीरे धीरे अपने गंतव्य स्थानों पर चले गए।
सर कानपुर को लेकर के कोई अपडेट सर अभी तक?
कानपुर में स्थिति पूर्णतः शांतिपूर्ण है और